Hey everyone, Michael right back at you again. This is part 2 of 2, Human Consciousness. My presentation dedicated specifically to human consciousness. I left off talking about human microchipping and in the psycho-civilized world, as Dr. Becker talked about in the book The Body Electric, and this whole connection to transhumanism and how they're going to push this as it's like some kind of a good thing, and that's why you need to take a microchip because they can heal a disease, they can heal certain things and give you a frequency and this and that and everything else. And then basically, they can control you and do away with prisons and everything else. Talked about Faraday boxes, the legendary Michael Faraday, the laws of induction, many other things to his credit and acclaim. If you don't know him, please look him up. Also, Christian Huygens, another really interesting person. But there's certain anomalies, I believe, that fall outside of human consciousness and basically get into a deeper element of magnetism and a connection to the sun's electromagnetic spectrum. Almost like it's like a beam, or like a satellite beaming information, or like a computer program of sorts for humanity or for humans. I've talked about a lot of this stuff already. A lot of it, this is why many early civilizations were huge into sun worship. This understanding of enlightenment, the Bavarian Illuminati, and just enlightenment in general. Just understand the whole term and the concept. And here's a few additional interesting elements of human consciousness. And this is all basically what I wanted you to stay with me for. Okay, so I read so bats are the largest mammal, the largest flying mammal. Or the only flying mammal, I should say. But there's this book I read about the echolocation of sound in bats, and that basically they have they put out this frequency, and they basically can it beams back to them, and they can tell everything, and they actually injected this horseradish peroxidase into bats, and they basically did scans, and certain areas light up, and the bats can tell the difference between a piece of plastic and a bug, and all this really stuff. But I don't believe that necessarily. I believe there's some truth to it. But I really believe it's just a deeper intuitive understanding of the bats, a predestined program for that's what they do. That's what bats do. It's it's their job to do what they do, and in nature, falconry, for instance. I talked about Alexei Romanov had 3,000 falcons to his name, but how people can almost train them to sit on their arm and go hunt. They know where the rabbits are, they know where everything is, and it's it's an intuitive sense or something like that, and it's people almost can control them through consciousness. I really believe the ultimate one here that I've really been big on lately, and I've read several books on it, is pigeons. Someday I want to start my own pen and start raising pigeons, but homing pigeons absolutely just amazes me. Okay, and this goes back thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Please understand the homing pigeon thing is just really, really, really interesting. You can go, they use them in wars. They use them to save sailors. They have all these programs, these or special government, military programs where they train birds to all kinds of interesting stuff with pigeons. And I had there's an American Pigeon Racing Union. I spoke with a gentleman named Dr. Miller. He's been into it for many years, and basically you raise the pigeons when they're young. And you start letting them go not that far away, and then they come back, and they know and you can get up to hundreds and thousands of miles, basically 1,000 miles away. You can let them go and they'll come back. Now they have problems with hawks and birds of prey getting them, but the fact that these birds, it's they know with the sun and everything. And they actually did studies where they glued magnets to the wings. The ones that had magnets glued to their wings didn't do as good. And it gets into this understanding of magnetism and the electromagnetic spectrum. And the ones that they let go when the sun's not out, they never do as good when the sun's not out. So it proves what I'm saying about consciousness, magnetism, and the sun's electromagnetic spectrum. So also back in the day, and there's also the Royal Pigeon Racing Society. The British monarchy is really, really big into racing pigeons. They still are. Some of these birds go for thousands, if not millions of dollars, and they have these special clocks. The clocks are really, really, really cool. They have they put the band on the bird and they let them go, and then they come back, and then they take the band off the bird. They put it in the clock, and like the clocks are pretty advanced for like the early like 1900s, maybe even late 1800s, and they crank it, and it like puts on has a piece of paper, and it like stamps the bird's time on the clock, and like they were letting these birds go hundreds of miles away from where they were penned, and like I just find it to be so interesting, pigeons. And then like if you ever saw the movie A Beautiful Mind, John Forbes Nash, he was getting ready to, just a side note, I've talked about this numerous times, he was like a week or two away from getting ready to publish a faster than speed of light theory, and he was like supposedly died with his wife, and I have bigger conspiracy theories about him and her. I think she was like an evil CIA plant or something like that, and like he like just basically messed with. He tried to get away from this country his whole life. He was probably a lot more brilliant and less schizophrenic, and he's probably poisoned. Like, to be honest with you, like knowing like certain people, like once you start delving into certain things with the magnetism and human consciousness, they will poison you. Like it's no lie. Like the CIA will come after you. Probably first they steal your kids from you, and they like there's just certain divine messengers and angelics among us. And anyhow, the whole thing with the pigeon. Anyways, in the movie, there's a scene where like he's out, like everybody is playing this game, like the wasps at this university, and he's out like chasing pigeons around, and then like there goes Nash again. And then like and make him look like he's like a fool, and he's like chasing pigeons, and he's like what are you doing? And he's like, I'm trying to develop an algorithm off their movements, and like it totally makes sense now. And like I said, just do some research on pigeons. It's really cool, really interesting. They're a member of the dove family as well, and it's like a real big kick I've been on, with pigeons. And like I said, like the fact, like I said, another story real quick, last thing on them. Like what started this with me is many years ago when I was younger. I live out in the country, out in southeastern Pennsylvania. I was walking down a dirt road. I was a boy, very young, and there was a gentleman there, and I asked him, "Hey, what are you doing?" And he says, "I'm from New Jersey," which is like over probably 100 miles away or so, maybe more. And he says, "I'm letting these birds go," and he's like, I'm explaining the whole like part of a race and doing the homing thing, and like it just intrigued me that you could let birds go and they would come back home. Now, obviously, like it gets into psychology and other things as well, but it's really like a deeper quandary. Next one. Okay, moving along. So we have bats I talked about, and like just how they can hunt and everything else. Like they know it's there. Like whatever. You ever see a bat fly? It's pretty insane, pretty crazy. Falconry, birds of prey, or like hawks, eagles, everything else. Like a friend of mine, I actually think I've heard just recently passed, told me that the ultimate basically honor is to be reincarnated as a bird of prey. And I can understand this in like ancient Zoroastrianism, the Egyptian religion, many other religions got into this for years and years and years. It's like not really a new thing. So then dogs, like how like a German Shepherd can like sniff drugs out, for instance. Like, yeah, they probably have certain elements with their nose. I'm not going to deny that they don't have a good smell, but it's like almost like they know. It's like a deeper intuitive sense. The German Shepherds in their nose. The German Shepherd, I have had them many years when I was younger. They just have this amazing ability to discern. If you just see them, like sometimes their face, like they're thinking constantly, or like they have this amazing ability to discern. Also, before an earthquake happens, they say that like dogs know. It's like they get this sense or something like that. And then probably, and they also know that like solar flares induce earthquakes more. So like it ties us all together. Then we have sharks. And like they say that a shark can smell blood in the water. Like a few drops of blood in the water, they'll come from miles away. I don't believe that they necessarily smell it that fast in a whole ocean of salt water and currents. I really believe it's like they know it's there. And like maybe like some people have experienced this, maybe not. But like other fish as well. The fish are just really interesting. Another one that like this is probably a more common one that you can do research on is ants. And like yes, they probably do have smell, but like first off, consider how small their brains are, and like how like imagine what it's like to be an ant. You know what I'm saying? Like how I don't know how many days they live, but you put sugar out, and like certain days within like 10 seconds, it's just covered. They come from everywhere. They know it's there, and it's mind-boggling to me. These are just a few of them. Okay, another one, spider webs. And like a spider, First off, there's like 45,000 types of spiders. I find this to be like absolutely baffling and amazing. 45,000 spiders on this earth, and that's, imagine 100 years ago or 1,000 years ago, there's probably 450,000, something like this. You know, but like the articulate design of their webs, like they're like they if you ever see one making a web, they're like these beautiful, beautiful geometric shapes, and like the silk that they have is able to like hold quantifiably times their body weight, and like, you know, like how it's just everything with the really, really, really amazing spiders, how they hunt. And if you ever seen one like get a fly or something, throw it in the web, it goes over to it, wraps it up in silk, and walks away and saves it for later. It's like they put it there so that like other things will basically think that they're in the trap, and then they'll go in there too. And like, really, really smart, in my opinion. Famous scene, chopstick scene in Karate Kid. Mr. Miyagi's trying to teach Daniel to catch a fly with chopsticks. Daniel does it. Mr. Miyagi eventually does. You know, this is like my own thing. So like years before I saw that movie years ago, but like this is like my own personal experience. You can believe it or not. So like friends of mine used to go out trout fishing. There's a little stream down the road from my house, and we used to, you know, run out of bait or whatever, look for worms or crayfish. Was a fun thing to do. That was like fishing in itself. And you know, you flip a rock over, and immediately when you flip the rock over, it stirs up a whole bunch of mud. And then like by the time the mud's done, like, you know, you'll see like a crayfish there, and you can grab it. You know, and like it's not easy to do. They're pretty fast. And one time, I don't know what it was, something just told me like go. Like I just went in, came out, and I had one. And like the odds, you know, quantifiably. I guess I had no inclination it was there. It was just like something told me to do it. You know, really, really, really weird. Also, one time, like when I showed my bow and arrow presentation yesterday. First time before I even bought it, I was doing like practice shots. First 2 shots, second shot hit the knock. Maybe that's like less, you know, I don't know what the odds would be of that, but it's not easy to do, especially if you're not sighted in or anything. And like there's like studies with people like in the military, like that just shoot like without even aiming. Like almost you're more accurate sometimes than when you take time and aim. And dowsers, another one, kind of, you know, maybe more of like a magnetism aspect element into that. Dolphins, there's like certain things with dolphins as well, the frequencies and everything with them, and like I said, other birds. Migratory birds. It's said that they basically go to the same fields and ponds and water like year after year, the exact same ones they'll come back to every year. And it's like kind of like the homing pigeons, but it's like a deeper, interesting aspect of this consciousness. You know, other inventions and accomplishments, you know, things that people said, how the hell did he think of that, or how did they come up with that, or how did they put that together? And it's like I said, part of this magnetism and everything else. Another side one is seeds. What really baffles me is, okay, you take seeds, you germinate them, and like you say, you put the seed upside down. No matter if you put the seed upside down, right side up, like think of a farm. You know, when the farmer's planting corn, every single kernel doesn't go perfectly the right way. Like some go up, some go down, but yet every single one comes up equally the same. And it's like it knows to come up, like the magnetism. Like some people say it's gravity, some people say it's like a genetic thing of proteins, like a protein synthesis in the plant that tells it to do it. You know, what have you. You know, but like I have a separate presentation on the Akashic Record, a compendium, like I said, of all past, present, and future events stored on the aetheric plane. Understand this term. You can watch that presentation in and of itself. Like I said, this stuff all defies, you know, what's taught at like top level universities, and like, you know, like I said, the education system, the organized religion, the scientific community, you name it. This is like all like outside the confines of that. And I'm not professing that I know everything here, but I really think between the last little presentation I did and this one, that it really puts a different aspect and spin on it for a lot of people who maybe, you know, weren't introduced to these concepts, you know, as a kid growing up, or even when you went to college or whatever. But I can tell you it's really true. And like, please read the book The Body Electric, the Foundries of Human Magnetism or something like that, or I forget what the whole title is, but like magnetism is really, really, really interesting. Like even just wearing certain colors can like change your whole aura and your field as well. The book, or There's a lady named Dr. Valerie Hunt. She did this early work with these special cameras where she took people in different settings and filmed. This was in the 80s, and you can see the energy that radiates off of them, and specifically people on the beach or anywhere where there's water in motion. It increases energy in the field. But then she'd show people that were on the beach and they had a beautiful energy around them. Then people that were in a church or singing hymns or something like that, and then people that were in a bar smoking a cigarette, and the energy is just cancer on them. It's really, really interesting. But as always, I thank you for your time. Feel free to leave your comments and feedback. And if you have any other questions or any other near-death experiencers that maybe be able to comment on some of this stuff that I'm elaborating on, please contact me. It's a very interesting field of study for me. I was fortunate enough to correspond with Dr. Bruce Greyson many years ago. He has since retired from University of Virginia. But there's a deeper element, like I said, of Buddhism that comes into this, where the people that come back are oftentimes they just have very little liking for materialism. They despise it, and just personal achievement. It's all about just this blissful harmony of life and nature, and you see the disharmony that exists, and it's very bothersome, and the evil and the greed and the lies that have consumed people, consumed our social culture, and just take over people from a young age, and how we're indoctrinated and we don't have a choice into this. It's just the evil workings of evil, greedy corporations that want to basically manifest us into, like I said, human doings instead of human beings. We need to take a stand for this, and we need to stop, we need to go to war and stop this, like I said, this takeover of the human race. And I'm telling you what I'm telling you is true. Please read, like I said, Dr. Becker's words himself. And this was in 1982, before we had Wi-Fi, before we had the electrical infrastructure we had, before we had 5G. You get the point. Before even cell phones, really. And it's gotten horrible. And as the populations grow and grow and grow, it's not a good thing. So again, thank you for your time. Take care, folks.